Myself speaking is Abel Walekhwa Wilson. If you can check, you'll see my handle there. And so I'm finishing my PhD at University of Cambridge in the UK, where I am on a fully funded scholarship. And that is how we felt we should make a contribution and help more people access and get fully funded scholarships. On the call, we have some of the mentees already whom we are working with, including Joan Nanteza, including Nalinya Sarah, including Doreen Gift. We are already working with them for the last 4 years, last 3 or 4 years in this space of career mentorship. I was mentored by Dr. Dani Musinguzi for me to get my PhD scholarship in the UK. But even in my second master's PhD, my second master's scholarship at University of California, Berkeley in the US, that was 2021. It was also through coaching by Dr. Dani Musinguzi. So we are now working together. We are now collaborating to see that we can have a bigger impact in Uganda, but also in Africa. Chibi, you're welcome. If you want to ask a question, just request for the microphone. Then I'll give you a chance to ask and we shall respond to your inquiries.
I was asking about international, for example, in the field of medicine, they're what they call international medical students. For example, if they are going to America, they sit UCMLE at undergraduate level. They sit UCMLE. For if they are going to UK, they sit for PLAB, and so on and so forth. How about a student who has done his master's, maybe in the field of medicine, and now wants to super specialize in, let me say, cardiology at maybe Duke University. So how does one get an admission in those universities at a postgraduate level?
Oh, yeah, go to their website, look at the department where you think your program is, check around, and usually you see they are giving available scholarships. You can apply, or you don't find anything, you can get the contact of any of the administrators or any of the supervisors. Send them an email and inquire if there are any funding opportunities for postgraduate education.
So just to add on something that at postgraduate level, it is really students driven. It is the prospective student like now Muchibi who drives everything, who has to apply, who has to engage, who has to look for information. However, there are also open windows, open application windows which are known. For example, we could say most of the maybe the UK universities, their intake is around October, September. So many of them open their applications around January, around December of the previous year. So you can just double check that. But mostly on their postgraduate website, because like said Duke University, it will have undergraduate programs and all the eligibility criteria and everything, but will have the postgraduate website or icon as well, which has all those aspects, what you should prepare, the English language requirement, if they want you to contact a supervisor or not, if there is funding available on a project XYZ, and then they tell you where to find that project. So they normally list all that information there. So the most important thing to do is to go to their website, to that university which you're targeting, and then you explore. And they normally give that information. For the case of Uganda, we have what we call the UG scholarships group. There are WhatsApp groups where we share information on when to apply, how to apply, and all those aspects. And once you join those WhatsApp groups, that information is always shared from time to time, and so you are able to know when to apply, but also you are able to know what requirements they normally ask for. And quite often the requirements at Duke University could be the same, or slightly lower than like those from, say, Boston, from those at Harvard, from California. So, but the information is almost similar, is almost available. Okay, Martha, you had requested for the microphone. You want to ask something?
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. I've seen Dan. I saw Dan had unmuted, so I thought you had something to say, but okay, let me go ahead and... Dan, do you have something to say before I continue?
Yes, I just wanted to add that if he wants to do something on cardiology, you need to first identify what are those leading universities in that field. And what I've been teaching recently is that don't go to any university because they are giving you a scholarship. No, go to a university that you know it's leading, it has got good reputation in that subject area, because you'll be able to learn from well-experienced professors. Resources are very good, and you learn a lot. So, and we use these Shanghai rankings, Times Higher Education websites to identify universities that are leading in different subjects. So, but before you contact any supervisor, in case you want to first get a supervisor, you need first work on your research proposal or research concept and your CV, because when you contact them and you are inquiring about funding, about supervision, they'll get back to you and they'll ask for two things. Trust me on this. They'll say, could you please send me your CV and research proposal? And if they're not ready, then you take 3 months before you get back to them. They'll just say, this guy is not serious. So I tell my mentees, never contact a prospective potential supervisor when you haven't worked on your CV and if your research idea is not yet clear to you. So those are two things that you need to be aware of. Actually, we've got a video on how to contact potential supervisors in case we decide to take that approach. You can check on the YouTube channel for Africa Center for Career Mentorship.
Thank you so much. My question is, do you offer one-on-one support? I feel like I am clear on what I want to study and where I want to study. And yeah, do you offer one-on-one support?
Martha, first of all, to give you an idea, that African Center for Career Mentorship is is an organization which is registered in Uganda, and we have been the space for mentoring and supporting younger professionals for the last 3 years now. And as of 15th of May, our success rate at African Center for Career Mentorship is at 71%. That is for admission and funding, but for admission alone, we are at 100%. So in other words, almost people who join us, they get admission. So, but also because admissions are easier to get than getting a scholarship or funding. So we at 71%, and so the support we give is really one-on-one. We don't put people in the class or like say in a group of saying 20 people, and we are now coaching them on how to improve their essays and how to write their motivators and personal statements. No, we organize one-on-one session with you, and then we take it on, and the results are really, really encouraging. For example, this morning we are having a mock interview with one of the candidates who has been invited in two universities, one in Ireland, and another one in East London in the UK, for two different courses, and not on the same date. One is on 27th of May, another one is on 12th of April, of June. So we give one-on-one coaching on how you should respond to the essays, to the questions. We also support you to prepare for interviews if they have invited you for interviews. We help you to know how to contact supervisors and so forth. So we have been having weekly Zoom sessions, and the recordings are available on our YouTube channel. But this time around, we said, no, let's try the X space, and we see if we can identify more people, or if we can reach more clients. And we are happy that we are seeing more people join the space whom we have not been having on the Zoom call. So the African Center for Career Mentorship YouTube, as we speak today, has 39 videos and resources, and it had so far, it has a viewership of over 5,500. But we have around 9 success stories who just used our YouTube channels, and they have won international scholarships, and we are very grateful to hear from them, but also to learn from them. So that's a quick response to you, Martha. You can just double check African Center for Career Mentorship YouTube. You'll be able to find us there. You'll find us on LinkedIn, where we share some of the success stories. On X here, we share some of the success stories and so forth. So, Martha, that's a lot of information for you, but I don't know whether I have answered your question.
Yes, you have, and I'm grateful for that. The only thing that I'm now wondering is, how do I reach out to you? Do I reach out to you on WhatsApp? Because I'm part of one of the UG scholarship groups.
Oh,
Yeah. Do I
exciting.
send you a hello on WhatsApp?
Yes, and we shall take it on. We are very available on WhatsApp. We are very available on emails. Once you just tap on, or even these social media handles, people contact us on LinkedIn and on X, and we quickly respond and take their requests forward. And I'm happy that you're on the UG scholarships group, where we share resources, we share information on how they can win, how people can win international scholarships. Just to inform members who have joined us on the call that this is going to be a weekly kind of webinar series, where we shall be interacting with you on different topics and different aspects. We shall be having speakers from different backgrounds. We have been having them, but we have been using the Zoom link alone. So today we are exploring the X, and we are excited that we are seeing new members log in, and we are meeting new members.
Abel, can I add something?
Yes, Dr. Danny, please go ahead.
Yeah. Martha is asking something very interesting to be mentored, and what we are seeing over time is that some people are almost winning fully funded scholarships. They just need one small push, and they'll be able to break even. So if you are here, don't just die alone. Reach out to Africa Center for Career Mentorship and ask for help to be mentored, especially if you're looking for bachelor's, master's, and PhD. For me, I only mentor PhD students.
Yeah, so we continue to welcome the new members who have joined the space. You're welcome. If you have any question about winning scholarships, please just ask for the microphone. We shall give you a chance to ask questions. Henry, go ahead. Just unmute and speak, Henry.
you, Abel. Mine is not a question really, but is a vote of thanks. I was mentored by you, and I'm happy to report it to members that I scooped a fully funded PhD at Lancaster University starting this October. So I would just want to thank you and encourage team members to persist because it is achievable, you know.
Yeah, yes, Henry, thank you so much for reminding me. I remember I had said I'm going to look for you and invite you to
Sure.
come to speak to my members in one of the Zoom sessions and so forth, and I hadn't yet reached out. I am going to work. My staffs are on the call. Benedict is on the call. Is going to contact you in the next week or two, such that we can host you and you inspire other people as well. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
I'm very, very, very open to that and just waiting for you to get to me and we arrange that. Thank you so much.
I remember, Henry, you even told me so. You said that you're very eager and ready to speak to others. I remember very well. Sorry, we had
Yes,
delayed to get to you. Okay, Dr. Danny, do you want to share anything, as we wait for members who are trying to ask any questions?
Oh yeah, I've got a lot. Just for guys who are going for masters by research and PhD, it's very important to start working on your research idea now. Don't wait until you're called for an interview and then you start running up and down. This time is now, when you haven't applied or when you're applying. Try to develop a competitive research idea. How does this look like? What new knowledge do you hope to create? In other words, is there a significant research gap that your research proposal aims to fill? And this is very, very important. Before even you come to that, you need to first read about the existing studies on the topic of interest, because it will be through the literature review that you will be able to know what has been done before and what needs to be done. And given that, you will be able to put in place ideas that are convincing to funders or scholarship selection committees. And that's what we've been talking about as a big why. Why do you want to go for that PhD? Why do you want to go for that master's by research? You should have a very big reason and situate it in contributing new knowledge or adding new knowledge to the existing body of knowledge in your field of interest. If that can be clear for you, then you got a scholarship, and then you can contact us to train you on how to articulate your big why for your research idea.
Dr. Danny, can you just briefly talk about your digest for me up such that people can hear about it, because some of them are joining us for the first time, because they could be struggling to know where can they find international scholarships and which countries should they go, which countries would you recommend them to go. Can you just talk about that briefly? Mabonga says, dear Dr. Dana and Mr. Abel, I've tried to secure a scholarship for a PhD in math education using scholarship DB, but all in vain. I'm following the UG scholarship page, but all opportunities fall out of math education. Any advice on that?
Opportunities are there. I wish you attended my training on Sunday, how to use Times Higher Education, Shanghai ranking, and QS ranking, and many others to identify different opportunities, different scholarships in different fields of study. So what you may need to do, I'm trying to get the recording, you may need to listen to that recording when I share it. Opportunities are there, and maybe you are failing because you're just looking at that course like math education or something like this, or program. Are there some related fields or related programs that you could go for? Don't just stick to one program, because actually what you study doesn't matter. It's what you can do with what you studied. So broaden your search. Okay, identify other 5 related programs that you could go for. If it's not that, what then? So list about 5 related programs and start looking for scholarships for those 5 other related programs. Trust me, you'll find that opportunities are countless. Trust me on this.
Dr. Dan, just to add on something. Dr. Dan, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
What Mavonga is struggling with, actually, I can predict this. What Mavonga could be struggling with is that he is looking for a PhD called mathematics education, or PhD in education, maybe stroke mathematics. One thing I want to just to emphasize what Dr. Dana just said, that at a PhD level, the title of the course you're going for does not matter. What matters most is the research idea you're going to work on. Actually, if somebody is telling you that I'm doing a PhD, either in Makerere, either in Chambogo, either in Harvard, don't ask them you're doing a PhD in what, because they will tell you I'm doing a PhD in vet medicine, or I'm doing a PhD in mathematics. But they're just doing a small bit of mathematics. So if we say we are doing a PhD in veterinary medicine, we are lying. For example, for me, I can't, my PhD is in medicine. That is how it is written anyway. But what I'm researching on is how can I use mathematics to predict diseases, and I'm using Rift Valley fever disease, which affects animals and humans, as my entry point for my PhD. So if I say I am doing a PhD in veterinary medicine, I will be lying, because I'm just doing a very small bit of veterinary medicine. So what I'm sharing with Mabonga is that do not look for the title of a PhD in education stroke mathematics. What you should first of all narrow on is what topic do you want to research on for your 4 years of the PhD. Do you want to do maybe numerical numbers, for example? And if that's what you want to do, it is very easy for you to pursue and get scholarships along those lines. And you can begin by identifying which supervisor, actually, after you have identified what you want to research on, the second thing for you to identify for the PhD is whom do I want to work with? Whom do I want this person to supervise? Whom do I want to supervise me? At the PhD level, you have a voice to say who to supervise you, who not to supervise you. I just want to emphasize that, Mabonga. If you're very clear on the topic and you're very clear on who you've begun identifying who can potentially supervise you, the opportunities are numerous and you can't even exhaust them. I'll stop there.
Yes, and just to add, don't wait for scholarship adverts to appear. You'll spend many years without without getting PhD scholarship adverts. So you need to be active. Look for information. Go to university websites. Dig for that information. Otherwise, most people are not getting fully funded scholarships because they're just seated at home waiting for someone to share PhD scholarship adverts, and then they can jump and start applying. It works, but it's a very lazy way of doing things. Yes, become very active, dig for that information, go to university websites, try to, who are the maybe top 5 professors in your field of interest. That one must be very clear. Which universities are leading in your area of interest? That must be very clear. Do you have any big research gap that you've identified you'd like to address at the PhD level? That should be clear. What has been done before? What needs to be done? All these things have to be clear, and you'll be able to find fully funded scholarships.
Yeah, just to remind the members that you are welcome to ask for the microphone, and you ask anything that is disturbing you. We should be able to touch on it or put our heads together to address it. So just click on request to speak. We shall give you a chance to ask your question. We shall be having this X space every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. and that's Ugandan time. So you're welcome to always log in and learn from different speakers. We are not beginning today. We have been using Zoom, and you can just check for African Center for Career Mentorship Zoom YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of our recordings there. Henry, you had requested to speak. Do you want to speak again?
It may not be specific to the scholarship. I'm sorry, I'm asking it on this folder. Now for us with scholarship awards, especially PhD, what do I need to be doing between now and October when the PhD starts? Is there any special information that you would give me to enable me to prepare for success in the first 1 year? I thank you.
I think that's a very important question. Extremely important question. So depending on the award that you have, just to give a preamble to members that Henry is one of the beneficiaries of our mentorship, but he's asking a very important question here. So Henry, depending on the award that you have, the award may have some conditions that you need to fulfill right now. For example, maybe the English language, maybe the any travel documents which they may want you to begin preparing, or any certification that they want you to do. So you can be working on that. But you're asking, supposing you have finished fulfilling all those things, what more should you be doing in preparation for your PhD? The first thing I would suggest is for you to take time to listen to other PhD students' stories, and they are available on YouTube. If you just click on PhD students' stories, you can begin hearing what they talk about in terms of what they regret if they knew in year one, such that for you can begin preparing ahead of time. We also have an X group called the PhD chat. That is basically for sharing PhD stories and PhD discussions. So you can follow it, and you can keep seeing what PhD students are posting, and then you can keep following up. We also have the PhD Facebook account and postdoc. The purpose of those pages are mainly for sharing information with fellow PhD students who are going through the life you are going through, because the challenges and the opportunities that come, they are more or less the same. The other thing to do at the same time is to begin reading on your subject area. Again, don't struggle to refine a lot of work, making it very refined, but it's good for you to begin reading about your area, begin preparing some questions that you're coming across, some of the research gaps that you're identifying as you go along. Because why I'm saying don't stress a lot of time is that when you meet your supervisor, you're going to take the first 6 months conceptualizing what you're going to work on with your during your PhD. So you don't want to take a lot of time in that space. I remember what I did for around 3 months as I was waiting. There were some short trainings on systematic review and meta-analysis and scoping review. Because I knew the research question I am planning to go and take on for my PhD, I attended those systematic review and meta-analysis. And actually, after the training, I began doing a systematic review for my project area. So by the time I reported, I had over 7,000 papers assembled and screened, and I had over 49 papers which I was including in my systematic review and meta-analysis. So it gave me a very good ground to prepare, but also to begin talking to my supervisor. I told him, look, I've done this, I've done the other. This paper is almost ready. Can we prepare it and we submit it? Actually, within the 4th month of my PhD, I was attending a conference in Seattle, Washington, and I was among the speakers, and I was presenting the work I was majorly doing before fully enrolling into the PhD. So, Henry, you asked a very important question there. Dr. Danny, do you want to add on something that Henry could be doing as he waits to start officially?
One of the things I would recommend is that take some online courses, good courses on effective writing. To be specific, academic writing. I know all of us, we know how to write, but if you haven't been at a university for a very long time, when you go for your PhD, the first few months, they will be challenging. Why? You struggle with writing. Trust me on this. So as you wait, please take some online courses on academic writing, effective writing. Try to polish your writing skills. And as Abel said, you're also your reading skills. Because at the PhD level, you'll be doing basically two things. Reading, writing. Reading, writing. So if you've got some challenges in those areas, this is the best time for you to clear them. Another thing that you should be doing is look at, if you already know your supervisor, read a lot of his or her papers, try to identify her writing style, okay, how she approaches things in writing, because when she starts or he starts supervising you, they require the same approach. PhD students who are joining a university for the first time struggle because they are not in the style of the supervisor in terms of writing. So they find it very, very challenging. So use that time to study your supervisor's way of writing. I don't know the terms and conditions for that scholarship, but trust me, one of the things that you'll be required to do is to teach undergraduates or master's students. If you are not familiar with teaching, this would be the best time for you to learn how to teach, how to articulate issues, because when you join, it will be hectic. You'll be having your PhD studies, so you don't want to start fidgeting around. And sometimes, depending on where you are going, students can be very challenging. So you cannot say anything and something I just believe on that. So learn how to articulate issues, different teaching styles, presentation styles, polish on that. And another thing that you could be doing is start mentoring others how to win fully funded scholarships. Start building your community, because there are few scholarship mentors around the world. So start mentoring others, start building your community, start transforming people's lives.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dan. I just want to amuse members on the call. I actually used this time to subscribe to my supervisor's publication alerts. You know, when you're on Google Scholar, if you have created an account on Google Scholar, which I highly recommend members on the Scholar to go and do, you can be informed and alerted when a particular supervisor or person has published a paper. So I use this time of before joining my supervisor to develop to subscribe to his publication alert. So even the first 2 weeks, I remember telling him, I remember in my meeting with him, I told him, congratulations on your new paper. And he's like, which paper? And because he's busy and he's always taken up with other things, some of the papers he's just a co-author. So if he's a co-author, he may not be following up the actual events that are happening. But since I had signed up for being alerted, that time there's a paper you co-authored on this, like, thank you for alerting me. I didn't even know. I remember I contributed a long time ago. I didn't even know how far that paper had even gone. He could also tell me, oh, you mean that paper is out? They had accepted it last week. They were working on corrections and formatting. I didn't know it was now out. But I didn't know that was very valuable. He since then he saw that I was updated and I was following what he's doing and I was interested in what he was doing, and I have consistently kept it up. For example, I now know who are the people working on my PhD topic called Rift Valley fever. So I have signed up on their alerts. So I am able to know which paper on Rift Valley fever has come out a day or just one day or even within the same day or 2 days after. And I keep sharing with my supervisor, this paper has come out, it is analyzing this and the other. And my supervisor feels very comfortable because he knows I am keeping track of what is happening in the subject area. The other thing that I did, which my supervisor was very impressed about, is that I used this time to design what I want to achieve during the PhD. I even put in what I want to do after the PhD. I even developed a Gantt chart with clear timelines, what I want to achieve and at what point of the PhD life I want to achieve it. And just before I got the plane, 3 days too, I sent him that lineup of things I want to do during the PhD, but even what I want to do post the PhD, and the Gantt chart with very clear timelines. So when I arrived and he asked me, are you called Abel? I said, yes, I'm called Abel. He told me I'd never got a PhD student like you. So we discussed that document, which I sent to him and said, okay, this one will help you to achieve it. This one will help you. This one, I don't know how to do it, but that one maybe you get from somewhere else. This one, it is true. This one is very ambitious. Please let you reduce it down. So Henry, that was a great thing, and my supervisor liked it so much. But we could chat more, and we see what more you can be doing as you prepare for joining in October this year. Ivan, Omax, you had requested to speak. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. I've been following discussions. I'm in one of the WhatsApp groups I just joined recently. Yes, I'm seeking for. I just heard of Digest app. I wanted to ask on how to go about the journey looking for how to get a fully funded scholarship with regards to cybersecurity, and that's computer science, but I got it. And again, I've been hearing of this thing you're talking of coaching. Now, my question is, at what point does someone enroll for the coaching? At what point do you join that coaching? And is there a fee attached? Because I've been on this journey for around 2 years. I managed to get some admissions, some but I failed to secure the scholarships. So I just wanted to know, so that when I'm embarking, when this time I'm looking for a scholarship, I exactly know what to do and when to do what I have to do. So I'm very interested in the coaching. How do I go about it, and at what point do I enroll for the coaching?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ivan. Dr. Dan is going to respond to you on that.
Okay.
Dr. Dan, there is a good question here from Moses Asuba. It says, um, Dear Abel and Dan, thank you for this continuous mentorship. What are key initial steps that I shouldn't miss in order to increase my chances of succeeding? Dr. Dan, do you want to respond to those two?
Okay. Increase your chances of succeeding in what? You are looking for scholarships for bachelor's, master's, PhD, or what? So maybe it will be better if you can add some meat on that thing, because I like to be very specific. And by the way, these things of scholarships, you cannot be general. I hear people telling me, Dan, I'm looking for a scholarship. Really? To increase his chances of winning, I think he needs to know his big why he needs a master's, why he needs a PhD. Okay, identify a very good research gap. Okay, have a very good CV that indicates the contribution he has already made. Okay, and I think if he's having some problems designing a winning CV, can go to the YouTube channel for Africa Center for Career Mentorship. There are 2 videos there on how to design an outstanding CV. Also, most universities require you to write a personal statement. So start familiarizing yourself on how to write a winning personal statement. And we've got some good resources on that, a list of videos that you can watch. And also get a mentor and get mentored. And this brings me to the other question. At what point do you get a mentor? Anytime you want, provided you are ready. Yeah. And I think there are a lot of details that we need to discuss, because like me, I'm very selective on the students I mentor. I don't mentor anyone. Basically, I mentor 5 students per year. So in case you need to get in touch with me, we can discuss that later, because you need first pass my first assessment. Yeah. And I think it's something with Abel. He's very selective on the people he mentors. So get in touch with us and we can be able to give you more details.
Dr. Danny, thank you so much. We will close it here. We normally meet for exactly 1 hour. That is 7 to 8 p.m. Anyway, because of the technical hinge, let's have Dennis ask a question. Dennis, kindly ask.
Thank you so much. My name is Dennis. I thank you so much for the opportunity granted unto me. I have 2 questions to ask. One question, currently I am actually applying for the African Leadership Program by the DAD in East Africa. And one of the key requirements required is this motivation letter. So I would like to actually understand, when I'm writing a motivation letter, should I direct the motivation letter towards the program I am applying for in a given university, or should I actually direct it to DAD themselves as the reason as why I'm requesting for funds from them as an agency? Then 2, I would also like to find out, probably, because most of these universities have tried, even through the DAD program, they actually require the English proficiency certificate. Is there any way that probably these universities can actually provide waivers, such like waivers to some students that probably are exempted? For example, if the program I actually pursued was actually using English as the language of instruction. Thank you so much.
Can they give waivers? I don't know. Why don't you ask them? In fact, that would be the quickest way. Ask. You need to put up a very strong case and say, look, you are very proficient in English. And some people, they say they are proficient, but even when they are writing to ask for a waiver, the email is full of mistakes, which makes it a very big point that you need to have the English proficiency certificate. So if you believe that you are good in English, convince them, provide evidence. Do you have some articles you've been writing? Have you published something that demonstrates your English proficiency, maybe in terms of writing? Have you been presenting at conferences? Do you have YouTube videos showing you presenting, something like this? If you have that evidence, ask for a waiver and see what they have to do for you. The other one is about the motivation letter due directed to the funders. I think you should be able to direct to the funders, but of course there should be some element why that university also. So I think it's both, but most importantly to the funders, because if they don't give you the money, then you need to align yourself with their interests, basically. So I would put more emphasis on aligning my thing with their interests, and then also why the university.
No, doctor, you're very clear. You're very, very clear. And now, depending, Dennis, depending on the application you are responding to, you may find that the actual form you're filling now is actually to the funder, that is the dad. It's the dad asking those questions. So you may want to focus your attention to them. However, some scholarships ask very direct questions that say, can you explain why you've chosen the other program in the university XYZ? So it's also important for you to align yourself to that university as well. So I'm requesting that you could get in touch with us at African Center for Career Mentorship. We look at the questions you are responding to. We have a technique which we call a WOT technique. That technique helps us to have specific responses to the personal statement or the motivation letter. The other interesting thing for you to bring out is that these scholarships have particular focus. If you're looking at the Gates Cambridge, it is looking at how to nurture leaders and intelligent leaders. If you look at Chevening is about change, change makers and nurturing leaders. If you look at MasterCard, it is about climate change and raising African leaders. So you need to identify what DAD is actually targeting. And once you know what DAD scholarships is pursuing, and you can get this from their website, they will tell you that our focus areas is nurturing leaders who do this, who do the other. Our focus is to contribute to entrepreneurs and something. Then you know they are looking for, or they are building entrepreneurs. So even when you're writing the personal statement on why you are interested in joining this program, or why you want to go to this university for this program, or why they should fund you to go to this university for this program, you align towards entrepreneurship, or you align towards climate change, or you align towards being a leader who will transform, who will contribute this, who will change lives in one way or in this way. By the way, don't say in one way or the other. You must be specific that if you fund me, I am going to go to this university. I'm going to build capacity. I'm going to learn from professor so and so and so. When I come back, I am going to do this. I am going to do the other, which is going to transform like this. So that kind of specificity is what they want to hear, but that specificity comes if you've done a lot of background reading and also turning their website upside down and also listening to the YouTube channels of successful mentees or successful applicants. But most importantly, getting a coach or getting somebody to peer review your essence. Say, look, you are forgetting this part, you're missing out this part, you adding this one here. Dr. Dan, kindly give your parting shots. Then
Okay, I just want to thank members for tuning in and always come and ask questions, attend as many webinars as possible, because what could be blocking you, maybe it could be just in one of the webinars and some presenter can clear that and the next day you can win a fully funded scholarship.